opening up those hips. Yes, so you're not walking around like Frankenstein, but rather you're throwing kicks when you're 50. Type in the comments if you know where that joke came from. I'm gonna show you a number of different moves, and these are high priority moves, no matter your age, no matter your level, no matter your background. But none of them will do you any good, neither will watching any of the videos that I've made on YouTube, unless you focus on one thing, and that is body weight strength. You've got to be able to master your body first, and then that transfers over to everything else. So keep that in mind as we proceed through the training today. Now, we're gonna go through the first one. You guys know what I'm gonna start with already. Again, if you know where I'm headed right now, type it in the comments. Toes out, heels back. Arms go up straight, back stays straight. What are we about to do? You guys know. We're gonna do the infamous horse stance. So this is the first one. Super foundational for starting to open up the hips. This is going to build into other stances. So let me just dive right in there real quick before you click away and go watch a Beyonce video or something. So we're gonna go down to this horse stance, and I'm gonna show you this right now. I'm gonna show you one that goes all the way back to my martial arts training, and it's going to start working on the ankles and knees and putting pressure on the hips in ways that you probably haven't done so before. This is called a twist stance. So what we do is we just turn the feet. And you notice I got this thing on my toe today. I needed to trim my toenails, but I figured I'd just rip the thing off. I was moving a heavy wooden box with, I only wear sandals, and I hit the toenail and boom, there it goes. So now I have this, but it's holding everything together. Holding it together. So we're in a twist stance like this. And this is a really good one for the knees, the ankles, the hips, twisting down, and the back heel is pointed upright. Then the front foot, the toes are pointed perpendicular to my body. And then I descend to where my knee is right behind my ankle. And my back is of course straight. I can have arms here or kung fu stance, but that's a twist stance. And obviously, if you want to be lopsided, then just do one side, okay? Super important point. The next one that we're gonna go into from that horse stance again, like I said, this is a foundation for everything. I said in a short form content the other day, or it was in a long form and I tried to put a short form. And I said that the horse stance is foundational for all the flips that I learned. So like, boom, just being able to throw an aerial. And I'm completely cold too. I did not warm up. And this is the kind of hip opening that I'm talking about so that you can kick when you're 50. So horse stance foundational for flips. And I mentioned a bunch of other things. Even for sprinting, someone was like, horse stance is foundational for sprinting. Yes, mentally, because you are being able to deal with pain. And that is one of the most important concepts in training. Building your threshold up so that, quite frankly, you're not whining about doing hard things. And you can do the hard work that will actually lead to the transformation. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so horse stance. We don't want the knees in like this, but I'm gonna show you one where the knees actually do go in like this. And then you go out like this, and then you go back in like this, and that turns into the butterfly dance from the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm talking about. So the horse stance, actually, we're pushing the knees out. We can even go deeper into another stance. So I call this the butterfly horse stance. So hands are like this, or a sumo frog squat, or whatever you want to name it, but it's really, this is a frog squat, but I just put my elbows on the insides of my knees. Now watch what I do. I press out like this. I do this one like every day. This is part of basic warm-up, even just feeling good. If I've been sitting on the computer, sometimes I'll get up and I'll do some moves and things. And I noticed oftentimes when I see people that are on the computer specifically, maybe they're a software engineer or kind of these contemporary entrepreneurs that are on the computer all day working on funnels and stuff, and I see that their knees are actually, as they walk, their knees are kind of inwards a little bit. It's very narrow, and I know their elbows even flare like this as they walk, and their body is conforming to that sedentary kind of situation that they're in all day. And so that is really bad for your hips and being able to move and stuff and thrive in life. And so that one that I showed you of going low and then pressing outwards, okay, and getting into that position there is gonna really, really help. And like I said, daily. So I'll get up and I'll do a couple things like this. I'll do a couple of hamstring stretches, and then I'll go into maybe a couple of handstands or front levers or whatever I just feel like doing. Okay, so then what we want to do is actually go the opposite way now. Like I was joking around about the butterfly dance. So from here, we could take one knee and put it down here, and now we're getting different rotation on the hip. So let's look at the rotations of the hip, right? So we have internal rotation like this. A lot of times people walk like this. They have bad internal rotation, okay? Then they're losing strength in certain areas and gaining hypermobility in other areas. Or they walk like this, the toes way out like this, almost like a strut. And then we've got, and I could tell a lot by about how athletic a person is going to be and what skills they'll be able to do just by how they walk. If their knees come in and then they're on the insides of their feet like this too, very flat-footed, okay, like this with their toes sort of turned out. So you could test yourself, take a little video of yourself walking and see how you walk. But yeah, all of these things, they tie together. So there's not like an isolated thing, and that your ankles and knees, that'll affect your hips. Like Vinny, rock star, he's overcome so much. He had 5 hip surgeries, and we've done a lot of work. You can look at his videos on the Pacific Rim Athletics channel, or my channel. You'll see his story embedded all throughout, and a bunch of other students too. And everybody's coming with all kinds of different backgrounds and injury histories and stuff, but he had 5 hip surgeries, and that's pretty brutal. And what ended up happening because of he had acetabular impingement. It's kind of a thing that actually caused the knees to need surgery. And so then he had to go through that. He wasn't athletic until his mid-40s. He eventually became a level 10 with us in ninja strength and a level 6 in parkour and free running, which I'm gonna go to the blocks in a minute here because that applies to the hips. But man, you know, it was a lot of work, and he was able to build the strength and skill and start to overcome a lot of that stuff. Does absolutely awesome with the training, but that ties back to the point that I mentioned about building your threshold to where you actually can do the hard work and make the progress that you want to make. So, okay, so back to some moves. So horse stance, twist stance, boom. Then we're coming down here to this sort of knees flared frog squat, toes way out like this, and then putting the knee down like this. I've got old videos that you can look at. I did like a 5-minute squat routine where it's like all these weird moves and stuff just put together. But you can put both knees down into a W sit. So look, so there's knees out wide and then knees in the middle. So internal and external rotation of the hips. So that's already a whole bunch there. Then what we're gonna do is take that to the side and start coming down to a snake stance. Okay, so if we bring the heel, keep it on the ground, this heel goes on the ground, this leg is straight, this knee again is pushed out. And it all ties back to this foundation of martial arts And then all of these stances that nobody wants to do because they're isometric holds and they hurt and they burn. You gotta do them because then it makes the foundation for everything else. So knees wide, knees in, sitting down, knees back up, no problem. Okay? Then, a final one for static, and then we're gonna do some movement with these. But you guys know this one, I've talked about this before. Just a nice leg out here cross and being able to hold and then move yourself back up. I remember, Adam, did you ever see the Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I know the name, I can't actually recall what's that.
You can't recall Jean-Claude Van Damme?
No.
Or Chuck Norris?
Yeah, Chuck Norris, yeah.
Okay, so I remember seeing those guys go out into full splits, and then that was actually how I got full splits. I practiced for like a couple weeks, and then I put something slick under my foot, and I just went for it. And I got the splits. But I was already pretty low. But okay, so to review, let's go back through that. Now watch this. We're gonna put this review into such a way that's cool and not just a boring review of the topics that we did. We'll put this together into a dyna combo. So watch this. So we'll jump, bang, twist, boom, twist, boom, back, bang, down. Listen to your knees pop. Boom, down, boom. Back up. All right, so a little dyna combo, reviewing all those stances. There's a whole bunch more too. And if you do them, and you don't have to do them obsessively, people constantly overthink their training. I see that in the comments all the time. I also see a lot of good comments. And one thing I wanted to mention, we always end our training. I'm watching all the students and then coaches that help as part of my team online with training. One principle that we always apply is trying to end on a high note. So if you are just doing sets and reps, you'll probably never have those experiences. Your training might even feel old. You might feel worn out. You might feel bored. It might be almost annoying having to go do it. It might start feeling like a chore if you're doing the sets and reps. And you'll get to a point where you kind of max out on the exercises or the moves that you're trying to do. So easiest one is the bench press. And you go and you get to a point where you're doing whatever you do, 3 sets of 10, 5 by 5. Numbers, that's a whole different conversation. I don't even believe in numbers like that. But whatever your sets and reps are, your scheme, you'll get to a point where you sort of max that out. Even 5 by 5, even 10 singles, your highest absolute best, and you'll just stay there sort of like throttling at that high level. If you're staying there, it might come down, it might go up a little bit, and then you're just doing that for years and years and years. And then, you know, that could turn into, if you're not changing that up, it could turn into chronic and catastrophic injuries. So if you're just doing sets and reps and those numbers, and then you're throttling at that level, or let's say you're just under training and you're just underperforming, okay, and you're just like throttling at mediocre. But either way, even at a high point where you're like going, and you know you're doing heavy lifts or you're doing like long runs or whatever, at a certain point you're just gonna be kind of like capped out, sort of. You can always push for a little bit more, but then the recovery time, etc. But you're just sort of throttling at that level. And what you'll never experience is the highlight, the rush of doing something new and unlocking something new. Running on a treadmill, doing your weights, doing your yoga, doing all those things, you will never experience that gain, that progress, literally unlocking a brand new skill where you're like, oh my gosh. And that is like a cornerstone of the way that we train. I call what we do Powerbatics, and then we do that at Pacific Rim Athletics. But anyway, all of the students, whether they're CEOs or doctors or students or, you know, kids coming to the facility, we always end on a win or a victory. And I'm watching the students and making sure that we're going up in that trajectory, and then they've got to hit that point. Now, sometimes they'll just keep going, and then they just start to lose it, and then bad habits come and slip back in, and they don't know when to stop. You know what I'm saying? And so we want to try to catch them on that upward trajectory, and then we want to pick up from that point on the next one, and then go up from there. And so that's a big principle. And we literally end the training at the end of a 90-minute block or a 30-minute one-on-one online or whatever it is. What was your wins and victories for that session? What was a highlight? What did you learn? What did you unlock new? So I want you to put that in the comments. That's what this whole thing was about. Put that in the comments and think about your wins and victories, and all the other stuff, all the negatives in life. Just leave that. Leave that for all of the negative Nancys and Nelsons. Sorry if your name is Nancy or Nelson. So let's start putting this into some movement now. Okay, I want to go down here, and we're going to be down low. Look how much all these stances apply. So this is going to be a speed safety vault. Now, what does a vault mean? A vault means to propel your body over an obstacle. Okay, and we put one hand on the ground, and then we put one foot forward, your best foot forward, and then we're going to take our other foot and step through that hole here, like that. Okay, and this is not any of those weird flow gimmicks or anything that you see online. All right, this is light years ahead. I'm going to show you in a second. But hand, foot, step through the hole. Hand, foot, step through the hole. And this is an application of those stances that we're doing. Okay, this one here, this is a swipe stance. All right, if I switch legs, I can swipe right out of that. All of them relate. Okay, so let's put some stank on this. I mean speed. Through. Because we want to train with a little bit of speed, a little bit of impact. But, like I said at the beginning, if you're not mastering your body as a whole, and then you go and you do your weekend warrior activities on hamstrings and hips that are bound up like Frankenstein and you can't kick like you're 50, then what do you think is going to happen? You know what's going to happen. So we need to apply all of these different things. Isometric hold, static, dynamic, passive flexibility, and unlocking the hips so that they can move. What should we do, a low block or a high block?
Yeah, I suppose you could show them on a low block so that they feel like they can access that height.
So, a small block item box at your local CrossFit gym. People will be giving you weird looks though, but then they'll be asking you how you got as good as you are. So one hand, one foot, step through the hole. Now I'm going to show you, before I execute this, I'm going to show you what often happens. People try to get up on blocks, and this applies to all of life. You're outside, you're doing things, activities, hiking, all these things. Here's what happens. Put my knee on there, oh, my shin, drag my shin, got all cut up. Or I'm gonna go up here with my fingers like this because my hips are so tight. And then you dislocate a thumb. I've dislocated my thumb putting my hands like this before and had to crack it back into place. You don't wanna do that. Again, you wanna master your body. So palm, go like this. Sometimes people go like this. I can't get my knee up through here, outside, okay? Again, hip range of motion, flexibility and strength to be able to stand up. Now look, I'm not just gonna show you these little gimmicky sets and reps of, all right, let's do some box lunges, okay? Or let's do single leg squats on a box for sets and reps. And take your vitamins too, okay? We wanna enjoy our training and constantly level up. Again, put your wins and victories in the comments. What did you learn from this video? Type that out, put that down there. I'm not gonna timestamp these. You can do that, thanks. So, one hand, one foot. Then, I only made it up to here. You don't wanna be this person. Walk to the edge, and kick the thing over and then go falling down. And this all comes back to hip mobility, and this all comes back to that base of stances. So, check this out. We wanna be quick and nimble and light. You shouldn't even hear yourself go across there, okay? Watch again. Quick. We call it a speed safety because it's speedy, and the safety is your tap here, okay? Whether you've got 5 toes or 4. So, hand, foot through the hole. Now, what if you want to go faster? Then we just use one hand, kick that leg higher, because we can kick, and we let the other leg lift up and land back on that same leg. Again, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna go like this. We're gonna go and turn around, and what happened? I don't know where I'm at. So you wanna be aimed forward. One hand, lift with the hips, okay? Range of motion and extension. Now, what if we want to go straight ahead, 2 hands at the same time? Really fast through, like a Kong vault. This is going to require our hips and our core compression strength to full hip hinging, piking, all the way through. Even a low block is more difficult than a high block because you have to crouch down low. And I see this a lot too, especially adults training. They come at it here, and then they're, again, up here like this, through here, kicking the block with their toes, and then it all goes downhill. So we want to come in low, controlling our whole body, hip hinging, hands on the block, pulling through our fingers, and coming right through, quickly landing light on the toes. Yeah, so there's a basic motion. And I want to go to the third principle. So again, stances, and then vaults, which we started on the floor. You don't even need a block. Stances, vaults, and then the last one that we're gonna look at, and I joked around about it a few times, but opening the legs, opening the hips through dynamics. And this is a little bit more advanced, and I know for a fact that it is something that's neglected in 99.9 repeating % of online programs and fitness and the whole fitness industrial complex that really doesn't do anything. Everyone is still in pain and overweight. So we don't want to be in that point. We want to constantly level up. And so the last one is our kicks. Now, what I want to show you is from this position of the snake stance that we talked about earlier, imagine that this floor is now the air and this foot is the only thing on the ground, and I'm sideways. Okay, this becomes your kick. So we are using passive stretching to get into this position. Now this is dynamic, or this is active flexibility and strength. Same stance. You guys see that? Same position. And it's the same position that we're going into on that vault. And all of it is training your hips. So again, It is not about those sets and reps. It is about dynamic, versatile training, not a workout, training, so that you can master your body weight and gain body weight strength. So we're here, holding the leg up. We can hold these for static holds, or we can bring up and down, or we can start adding our kicks. In martial arts, this is called a chamber position, okay? Chamber, then extension, and then back, and then down. So, we're tying all of this together, and we're moving the hips like you've never done before in just a 30-minute session, but that becomes full body. So let's look at that. So what have we done in terms of the entire body now? Because it's not just your hips. We have gone through a horse stance, which is utilizing the ankles and knees. We're twisting ankles, knees again. Also, proprioception and coordination. We can even go into a one-leg twist stand. Coming back, down here, pushing out. This is mostly hips. A little bit of the adductors. I think the adductors pull in, I think. And then when we extend, or when we bring down here, internal rotation of the hips, also ankles and knees. The reason why you feel pressure in your knees when you do this one is because your hips are so doggone tight. Okay, then we're in snake. All of this is using your lower back as well for stabilization. So back pain situations and stuff tie into the lack of hip mobility and the weakness of your lower back, which is compromised in all of these positions too. And then we did the leg iron cross. Boom. And then watch. Again, low frog, one hand stepping forward. Now you got pressure on the toes, pressure on the upper body. And then we're stepping through. Core, compression, strength. Bringing that leg through. Stepping forward. Then we have the dynamic over the block. Chamber, kick. See you in the next video. And in training, apply. Go do it. Apply for training. It'll be super helpful. And it will accelerate all of it, because you could be making more progress in the next 6 months than in the last 6 years. And that really does make a massive difference when you make the mindset shift out of workouts and into training with accountability, objective eyes, who knows what to do and can say, hey, just make this tweak. Hey, just change this little piece here. All right, keep going, because we know what's gonna work. All right? I guess, see you in the next video. Write your wins and victories in the comments below. What did you learn? And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, darn it, forgot. What? Dang it. Oh, yeah.